All right, so I just got back from watching Pressure, the latest World War II movie from Focus Features. But this one isn't necessarily about any particular battle in World War II, although it does focus on D-Day a lot because it is about the meteorologists who are trying to figure out what kind of weather there is going to be on D-Day to see if the invasion if it's a good idea to have the invasion on that day or not, because it's going to be a land and sea beach invasion, so you need good, or at least good enough weather to pull that off. Otherwise it's going to be a disaster. So it's a kind of about the struggle because obviously this is in the 40s. Technology isn't where it is today. So there's a lot more uncertainty in predicting the weather than there is today. So you might wonder, well, okay, that sounds kind of interesting, I guess, but how could he make a whole movie out of it? Because that's kind of what I was thinking. The trailer was interesting and the performances looked strong, but how do you make that whole thing a movie? And they did it. They kept my interest the whole time. I quite enjoyed this movie. It's not one of the best World War II movies of all time or anything like that, but it's not too shabby. It is very decent. I think if you enjoy movies, historical movies about, especially about World War II, and just sort of the process of, the more of the unknown stories about the process of figuring things out, I think you would enjoy this. It's got some strong performances, especially by Andrew Scott, who kind of he is an actor who, if you know movies, you know who Andrew Scott is, but if you don't, he's kind of like this guy that's in a bunch of stuff, but you don't really know who he is. But he's the lead in this movie, and he does a really good job. His performance is very understated, not very charismatic, and I think that makes it more memorable. Then obviously you have Brendan Fraser playing General Eisenhower, and he does a decent job. I don't think he disappeared into the role quite like people like Gary Oldman can do, but it wasn't distracting. I never quite saw Eisenhower, but it wasn't just, oh look, it's Brendan Fraser. It was kind of in the middle there. It was believable enough. So yeah, I guess you could say, as far as criticisms go, that this movie is a little bit cliche. Where you can kind of, if you know the history, especially, you can kind of tell what the beats of the story are going to be and what's going to happen. But it's done in a very engaging way. Again, the acting and just the overall tense nature of what's about to happen, because this was a very important day in the war. So just the emotions of the characters in the moment is captivating enough where you're constantly wondering, like, what's going through their heads right now. Like, you can't imagine the amount of stress on these people. Even not, they're not even soldiers, they're just meteorologists. Yeah, so if you enjoy historical movies about World War II, I highly recommend this. If you're not a big fan of more, drama movies, period pieces, you want a little bit more action, this movie doesn't really have action. It's not like a, Saving Private Ryan or Hacksaw Ridge type of movie. It is more people in rooms talking. It's a lot like Darkest Hour in that regard, the one about Winston Churchill. And I feel like if you liked Darkest Hour, you'll enjoy this as well. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on Pressure.